we begin, there is something I wanted to just bring up, so we've worked together,
Yes.
but not ever on a direct team.
No, unfortunately.
So we followed each other's paths a little bit, like both having worked on Sony Electronics and then PlayStation. But I have been watching you from the sidelines.
Yes, you've always championed me.
Yeah, I mean, for many reasons.
Yeah.
But, one thing that I have noticed is that I've seen you take so much initiative, and everything that you do it with so much rigor. And every project you take on, and that I see the final product ends up being, it takes me by surprise.
Really?
And obviously in a very nice and pleasant way, because I don't know many people who go the extra mile the way that you do. And in fact, this is because of you, So yeah, I just wanted to draw attention to that.
Thank you.
And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this series, is to just draw a bit of attention to people who I think are really good, but don't necessarily seek the spotlight. And sometimes you might be going under the radar.
Yeah, it's so true. And you've always made me feel seen. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, you're very good at that.
But that's important.
Yeah. The fact that that's important and you don't have to do that, I think is credit to you as well.
All right, so shall we begin?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, okay, so first question. When was the last time you pushed yourself outside your comfort zone? And what did you learn?
It was recently, actually, last month. I mentioned to you I volunteered for a charity called Visible Start. Yeah. That was an email that got sent round, so I didn't have to do it. I just volunteered because although it was really uncomfortable, I knew it would push me out of my comfort zone. So what it involved is I had to speak to a large group of middle-aged women. They are looking for work. They are out of work for various reasons, whether they've lost their job or they've taken 10 years out to have a child, or different reasons that they're looking to get back into work. So EssenceMediacom work with this charity. So I volunteered and I had to do a presentation and present to them and show them what my day-to-day looks like, what my job entails. It was really intimidating at first, the initial 5 minutes, because they are all middle-aged women with way more life experience than I've got. They've got children. Some of them have been in really senior roles. Just to mention, some of them have worked in media, some of them haven't. So it was a real mix. But I'm so glad I did it, because one thing that I wanted to achieve is to become more confident in public speaking. Right. So I knew that by doing that, it would help me with other presentations in my day-to-day and feel less intimidated. And it did. So I had a big presentation after, and I spoke to, it was 100 people after, and I had feedback after from colleagues saying, oh, you came across as really confident in that. So I know that by putting myself in that uncomfortable situation with the charity, it therefore helped. I think most of the time people don't see the nerves. You feel it, but people don't necessarily see it. Yes, yeah. So I'm very good at pretending, almost fake it until you make it. Absolutely. I live by that. Would you do it again? I would do it again. I think the more that I do those things, surely the less panicked you feel. Absolutely. That's the aim. Yeah. All right. Next question. What's the most impactful feedback you've ever received? And how did it affect you? It was really simple, actually. These are quite recent examples. It was Stephen Penston. He's an operations director, EssenceMediacom on the PlayStation team. And he said, what do you think? He just asked that simple question. So I think with the way I work, people who are more senior than me, obviously I do respect them, and that's important. I always feel that because they're more senior, therefore whatever they say go. But Steve challenged that, and he just said, you don't have to agree with me. And then I think it sounds so simple, but there was a real shift from that. And after the work that I've been doing, I don't necessarily just take an answer and do what someone thinks who is more senior. I actually sometimes challenge. So just that simple piece of feedback from someone quite senior has really helped me. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. People like Steve are rare, and not everyone is going to always offer you that opportunity. Very rare. So building that confidence to just speak up is also a big one, I think. Yeah. I think he knew. I think he knew that would empower me. So the more people do that. What do you think motivates you more? Is it exceeding your own expectations or being recognized by others? Such a good one. I challenge myself. I put this one in there. If I'm being totally honest, it's by others that really motivates me. sometimes that's not always been healthy
Yeah.
in the earlier years, but I've just accepted that is what I am motivated by. And that really spurs me on. It kind of gives me that boost.
Yeah.
I think the shift in me as I'm getting older and I've moved into different roles is that I don't only get that from the workplace. I have now looked, you know, volunteering for Visible Start, the charity, hobbies outside of work, weightlifting. I'm looking for it in other ways, so it's not all through the workplace. So I think it's really healthy. So recognition is really important for me. So when people like Steve, yourself, you are able to do that, I hope that you know the impact that has.
Oh, we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do.
Good leaders.
And I guess, you know, segue to the next question. How do you balance being humble and still getting recognized? You know, how do you do that? How do you balance that humility?
Yeah, this one is work in progress. I'm getting a lot better. I think honestly working with my American colleagues has helped me. I kind of watch them learn how they do it. They are much better at doing that.
Yeah.
I would say personally the change in me recently is when I want to shout about work, I will do it when I feel that something has been a really great piece of work. And the difference is if I've got the evidence to back it up, I will shout about it. So, for example, I created the Play Beyond Borders content website. I didn't feel that that was enough just to say I've created a website. But then when I kept doing the work, pushing for the content, and then months went by after the launch, and I had got the launch set up and everything, and then setting up the newsletter, I could then monitor the stats of how many people visiting to the site, how many people reading the newsletter, and then I could shout about it because I could see them month on month. We're getting more visitors, and there were peaks when, you know, I was pushing more of the interesting content, so I could then shout about it to the clients, but also internally as well.
What I like about that is that you're not marking a project as complete. You always find something new to add to it, and evolve it. And that is actually one of the projects that I remember being, oh my God, she did this. This is great.
Yeah,
you know?
You were there at the start.
So it was cool, and I think it adds a ton of value. It's fun. I think that's also part of what motivates you to do it. But equally, there is a benefit to the network and to your peers. You know? So no, I support that 100%.
Yeah, you always did.
All right. Final question.
Ooh, one more. Okay.
One more. If you had to give advice to your younger self or to anyone who's starting in the industry, what would you tell them?
I think I would say don't always strive for perfection in everything. I think I was a bit obsessive when I was younger. It has to be perfect, has to be perfect. But just, I would say be a bit more messy. I know that might sound quite strange, but just get messy, get involved. Because sometimes trying to achieve perfection can almost
quick
create
and
a
dirty
barrier.
works a lot of the time.
And I think be messy, go for different experiences, be brave. I think when I was younger, I probably wouldn't have volunteered for Visible Start, for example, but just try to push yourself in those uncomfortable situations. And also just try to enjoy yourself as well. Sometimes if you're just always looking for perfection in everything, you kind of forget the enjoyable moments. We work in media, it should be fun too, you know, especially when you're junior, enjoy those moments, whether it's lunches or team events, and actually that builds your network up more. So I look back and I reflect and I think I should have done that more so, because then, you've got that network around you from a young age.
I think in the early stages of our career, striving for perfection is not a terrible thing. But eventually when you start realizing, you know, there's priorities and things get in the way, then you have to okay, what is good enough? And what should I move on to to be able to make space and things like that. So yes, I do
time management, for example.
Absolutely, because I think when you're in a junior role, those decisions are not yours to make.
Exactly.
But as you grow in your career, you do have to just let go and just say, okay, that slide is fine, go. And that's
you hit the nail on the head.
Oh, well, it's been such a pleasure. This was really great.
It was fun.
I've had such a great time working with you, obviously, and
I miss you.
I miss you too. I would love our paths to cross again.
Yes, I hope so.
But yeah, thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
All right.